I'm Polly Bath, and I travel throughout the country working with schools everywhere, really focusing on behavior to make our jobs a little bit easier and get that stuff in that's all important, like the content. And as always, like and subscribe because it always helps out my channel. But today I'm doing something really special. It's answering your questions. Today's question is, I have a little one who tantrums immediately if I redirect her. If she wants something, she's gonna have it. Just about anything results in her losing it. So she plants herself on the floor, she cries, she refuses to move. What can I do? Great question. And it's often a really difficult situation when we're in it and we don't really get a chance to think about what would we do in this particular circumstance. First of all, let's think about why people in general tantrum. Because you know what, we all do it, from little kids to older people. What happens is a place in our brain that's responsible for what we call our fight, flight, or freeze. And if we don't know what to do with that place in the brain, we have no skills, or we're little, like little kids haven't learned yet a lot about what to do when something is in their way, they can't get what they want. So they plant themselves on the floor and they go right into that fight, flight, or freeze mode. So I'm on the floor, I'm in a full-blown tantrum. What can you do? In the moment, not a lot. You got to keep the kiddos safe. So you monitor, stay a leg length away because their legs are longer than their arms. I've learned that one the hard way. And monitor. You're sitting in your chair, maybe you've got a book in your hand, you've got a magazine. You're not like purposely ignoring them, which makes the situation even worse in my mind. You're paying attention to them, but you're not going to exacerbate the problem by possibly asking them questions like, what's wrong? What can I do? How can I help you? You're just saying to them, I'm here. And keep it quiet. Like, don't do a countdown like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or you're going to lose your reward on Friday if you don't calm down, because that's just going to make the situation worse too. So be there, and what I'm really stating here is ride it out. You know, I've had to tag team sometimes with a colleague where I'll say, hey, can you tag team? I got to get back to class, and can you sit here for a little while? Eventually, that tantrum starts to come down because child now starts to realize that, okay, this isn't working, and I'm getting a little tired, and believe me, they can hold it up for a long time, so don't get upset about that. And then as that comes down, don't go back to the problem like, so, did that help? Or, and that's a little sarcastic, I realize, or don't start to do interventions right away. As a matter of fact, the best thing you can do when that child calms down is just to say, oh my gosh, guess what? It's time for snack. We don't want to miss snack, and really just kind of move the day along. And as you're teaching that child some more interventions throughout their school day or throughout whatever you're doing, especially with that child, you hope to see those tantrums decrease in frequency and also decrease in intensity. So as you're teaching skills on another different time, like perhaps later that day, you could say, wow, we had a great morning, had a little bump in the road, but let's talk about that bump in the road now. But we're not going to talk about that bump in the road during the tantrum or right after the tantrum, because really all we might do is throw some kerosene on hot coals, and the child's not ready for that, especially if they're little. So again, the points here today are, can I do a lot in the moment? No, but the best thing I can do is know where it comes from, that there's a place in the brain for that, know they don't have any skills, ride it out the best I can, keeping everybody safe, teach some intervention skills at a better time during the day versus right then, and limit words or countdowns or things like that. Like, I just don't even do it. Just be there for them. And hopefully you'll start to see the frequency and intensity of those tantrums decrease. Thanks for that question. And if you have questions that you'd like to see in a future episode, please include those in the comments below.